Okie dokie, artichokes, welcome to your second video lesson for this chapter. We are going to talk today about multiplying and how to multiply polynomials. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so first, multiplying polynomials, what we have to pay attention to. Again, polynomials, we have more than one term written out. So we talked last section about adding and subtracting when we have binomials, trinomials, monomials. Okay, so now today we're going to talk about how to multiply them. So, simple case of multiplying polynomials is taking a monomial and multiplying it times a polynomial, as we can see in this first example. So how the heck do we multiply polynomials? Well, to multiply them, we're going to treat them just like they were numbers. And with this case of multiplying a monomial, something we've done before. If you look at this, think for a second, how would I multiply negative 3x to the second power times this polynomial here? Well, imagine that if this monomial was just a number, what would we do? Well, we've talked about this before. Anytime we have something like this, we talked about distributing. So we're going to distribute here. Okay? So basically, I'm going to take this 3x squared and I'm going to multiply it by every term in this. And what do I get? Okay? Well, I'm going to get negative 3x squared. I'm just going to write this out long times 4x to the third. Okay, then I'm going to have negative 3x squared times negative 2x squared. Okay, we'll think about what we get there. Then negative 3x squared times x. And then lastly, negative 3x squared times negative 10. Okay, so let's see what we get with each of these. Now this is where applying our rules from last chapter are going to make a difference. So we have negative 3x squared times 4x to the third. Okay, so what do we do here? Well, treat numbers like numbers. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Then I have x to the second power times x to the third. How do we do this? Well, we're multiplying. Same base, different powers, we're going to apply our product rule. So that's going to be x to what power would that be? What's going to be the fifth? Remember, we add our exponents. So I get negative 12x to the fifth. Next one, I have negative 3 times negative 2. That's going to turn out being a positive 6. Then I have x squared times x squared. So again, product rule here. 2 x's and 2 more x's. That's going to give me x to the fourth. Again, we're going to add our exponents. Then I have negative 3x squared times x. That's going to be minus 3 because that's a 1 in front of this x here. And then I have x squared times x. How many x's would that be? And that is 3. And lastly, I have negative 3x squared times negative 10. X squared is going to stay, but now I have negative 3 times 10, which is going to be positive 30 x squared. Okay, and here would be my answer. So notice with my polynomial, multiply them together, and I got myself a longer polynomial with here a degree of 5. Okay, so just multiplying together, there I distributed. Okay, next example, let's take a look at how do we multiply using a table. So here's just another method on how to multiply these two things. Now here I'm multiplying two binomials, 2x minus 1, 4x plus 2. So here's how you're going to set up this table. I'm going to take my first polynomial, 2x minus 1. I'm going to write that there. Okay, kind of making a table. Then I have 4x plus 2. I'm going to put my 4x there and my 2 there. And what I'm going to do is in each cell of this table, I'm going to multiply the two things. So here I have 4x times 2x. What does that give me? 8x. I'm going to have x times x, which is x squared. I'm just going to go across 2x times 2. Multiply those together and get 4x. Okay, down here I have, right here, this column, this row, I have 4x times negative 1. That's going to give me minus 4x. And then lastly, I have negative 1 times 2. So that's going to give me negative 2. Now, how do I simplify this? Well, if we look at our first box, combining these two, I get 8x squared. So that's my first term, 8x squared. How do I combine the rest? Well, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look diagonally. Okay, I have 4x and minus 4x. So if I add those two things together, they are like terms. I'm going to get plus 0x. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0. And then lastly, at the end, notice I have a negative 2, so I'm just going to write minus 2. Now simplifying that, there's no need to write the 0x, so I have 8x squared minus 2. Okay, so notice how here to combine like terms, I circled diagonally, or like Harry Potter would say, dogly, circle those to get the like terms combined. Okay, let's try the same method now with multiplying a binomial times a trinomial. So I'm going to show you again the box method, setting up a table how to do this. Okay, so I have a trinomial, 3 terms, binomial, 2 terms. Notice on my table I have 2 rows, 3 columns. You can set it up like that. You could also do 3 rows, 2 columns if you wanted to as well. Okay, so I'm going to set this up. Again, I have my binomial x minus 5. I'm going to put the x there, the minus 5 here. Set up my trinomial. I have 3x squared. I have minus 2x. And then plus 4. So I'm going to put those three in those locations. Now what you're going to do again is multiply. If I want to find this cell, I'm going to do 3x squared times x. So what I want you to do is quickly pause the video. I want you to fill out this table in your notes. Ready, set, go. Alright, so looking at this is what you should have. I have 3x to the third by multiplying those two. Negative 2x squared plus 4x minus 15x squared. Down here I'm going to multiply again row and column. Same thing here, plus 10x and then minus 20. So now to combine like terms to simplify this, we're going to circle diagonally. I can't circle this top cell with anything. The next one, notice how I have 15x squared and negative 2x squared. So I can combine those by circling diagonally. Same thing here with the x's. So let's see what we get. Well, we get the 3x to the third, so boom, I can write that. Next one, I have minus 15x squared minus 2x squared. If I combine those, I get negative 17x squared. Then I have plus 10x plus 4x. What does that give me at the end? That is plus 14x, and then lastly I have the minus 20. Okay, there's my answer. Notice here as well as when I do this, by setting up the table correctly, notice how I get my answer in standard form, right? Descending order of exponents, so we're all good here. Okay, now that's one way to do it. That's not the only way to set things up. Now, drawing the table is kind of long and lengthy for you. There's another method you can do. Some of you may have done before. So let me show you another way. And this is basically multiplying horizontally. Some of you might have heard this or called this FOIL before, the FOIL method of multiplying polynomials. So let's take a look at that. Now, first one, I have 2x minus 5 to the second power. Okay, so what does this mean, 2x minus 5 to the second power? One common mistake people are going to say is, hey, distribute. Distribute that 2 right to there and there. Well, folks, that's incorrect. What does anything to the second power mean? We talked about this last chapter. That means 2x minus 5 times 2x minus 5. So really notice here that I'm multiplying that binomial by itself twice. Okay, so how do I multiply horizontally? So here's what I'm going to show you, okay? I'm going to put this little box here. To multiply horizontally, I'm going to take this box and cover up the negative 5. And I want you to think of this as distributing. Okay, so I'm going to take this 2x and I'm going to distribute it to those two terms. Okay, so what's 2x times 2x? Well, that's going to be 4x squared. Then what's 2x times negative 5? That's going to be minus 10x. Okay, so I've basically taken that first one. So with FOIL, first outside, I'm going to start with my outside first. Then the next part, I'm going to move this box. Oh, Nelly. Move the box. I guess I'm moving the page. I'm going to move it over there. So now I have the negative 5. So when I multiply this, I'm going to have negative 5. And there, I'm going to distribute the negative 5. So I have negative 5 times 2x. Well, again, hey, that's going to be minus 10x. Then negative 5 times negative 5 is going to be plus 25. Once I did that, now I'm done. So what did I do there? I did the inside last. Okay, now multiplying combining like terms, I'm going to get 4x squared. I have minus 10x, that's going to be minus 20x, and plus 25. So boom. So it's just another way to do it. Whatever method you like better, whatever one is quicker for you, easier for you, go ahead and do it. You can set up a table or you can do the FOIL method. All right, lastly, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Okay, let's take a look at this last example. I can't get rid of this box here, getting in my way. All right, so let's take a look here. We're going to multiply horizontally. So what I want you to do is go ahead, pause the video right now, see if you can answer this one. Okay, I have a binomial, and then notice here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms here. Okay, to help you out, think about putting a box somewhere here. Okay, I'll give you the first hint. Remember, we're going to cover up one of them and distribute. Okay, so pause the video, go see what you get. All right, so let's take a look at what you have here. So looking 2x minus 4 times this whole polynomial over here. I think page is moving on me. It's driving me nuts. Anyways, okay, so here's what we have, folks. We have the 2x, what I did, you see it in red, I distributed the 2x to every term on this side. Showed that here in red by multiplying, again, using your rules of exponents, okay? Then I showed distributing the minus 4, wrote that in blue. Okay, again, using the rules of exponents, and what I did, shown by the red lines, here's combined like terms, and in the end, I got 2x to the fourth minus 12x squared plus 16x minus 16 is my final answer. Okay, so this one is just, again, horizontally is that FOIL method. Basically, it's just an application of the distributive property we talked about a long time ago. All right, so what I want you to do is pause the video here. I want you to give these two a shot. Okay, I have the binomials here, two binomials to multiply, and then a trinomial times a binomial. What I want you to do is you can use the box method I showed you, the table method, or you can use the horizontal method or FOIL. Okay, use either one of them. Pause the video now, give these a shot. Okay, let's take a peek at what you have here. Okay, it's first one I did the box method. So I set up I have two binomials, so notice I set up a box or a table that's 2 by 2. And then what I did is I wrote down my two binomials, 2x minus 4, 2x plus 4. Each cell I multiplied them, so I get 4x squared, 8x minus 8x, negative 16. Combined diagonally like that, so 8x minus 8x, 0x. Okay, then I just drop that 0x out of there. It doesn't make a difference. You get 4x squared minus 16. Next one, did a little tricky here, okay? I wrote the trinomial first, then the binomial. Now, there's two ways in which you could have done that. You could have started with the trinomial and covered up using a box. If I were to throw a box in here, what you could have done is place this box over the 4g and the 1 at the same time once you were done with that. So basically here what you could have done with that is thrown two boxes in there. Started with the 7g, then the 4g, then the 1, distributed that way. What I did differently is I started on the right side. Now, it doesn't matter here, I get the same thing. So I started by distributing the g in green, as you can see here. Okay. Once I did that, then I took my box and I moved it to over the g, and I distributed the 8 shown in red, and I got these. Then combining like terms, I get 7g to the third minus 52g to the second minus 31g minus 8. Okay? So whether you use the table method or foiling, multiplying horizontally, whatever method you work or like to do, whichever one works best for you, go ahead and do it. All right, guys, we'll see you in class. Have a great day. Later.